Reporter at Semaphore, Shelby Scott, Deputy Chief of Staff for former Congressman Adam Kinzinger, Maura Gillespie, and Bloomberg national politics reporter Christian Hall. Welcome to you all. Maura, I want to start with, Shelby, let me start with you, actually. So that answer from Vivek Ramaswamy, not what he said months ago, but also this is a zero-sum game, right? If you really want to be the nominee, and these debates are not about just overlapping stump speeches, you have to challenge the front runner. And he's, I guess, suggesting that he doesn't need a few opportunities to do that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And I actually think this is one of the examples of things that Vivek is going to get hit on. There are these kind of contradictory statements that he's made. But you're right. Candidates do need the opportunity to go after Trump, and they need to take that opportunity. And a lot of the Republican field that we're going to see on Wednesday night does not want to take that opportunity. It's not even that they don't have the opportunity because Trump's not going to be on stage. The moderators of this debate have said that they're going to ask questions about Trump. It's that the candidates don't want to directly go after him.
And they're all thinking about, what do the voters want? What do they want to hear? Maura, you worked with two men who are not exactly in line with where the Republican Party is now, Adam Kinzinger and John Boehner. Listen to what this New York Times focus group of Republican voters in the first four states, in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Nevada, said. They said, Mr. Trump, this is what they found, has never come across so well positioned as compared with his rivals as he did in this one. And there's little appetite among these voters for attacks on him. This is after 4 indictments. This is after everything. And he's never come across as well as now to these voters. What does it tell you?
I find that so hard to believe, truly.
Believe it.
I can't. But no, I find it really hard to believe as far as on a wider scale, the Republican Party will continue to lose if Donald Trump is our candidate. And I think Kristen wrote about it in his op-ed this weekend, talking about the down ballot impact this will have on your local school board. I mean, it really will have down ballot implications. And I think for the GOP, you know, one of the attack lines that I think candidates should be using is looking at this as Donald Trump is attacking the Republican Party. He has continually tried to do so. He is not going to sign the RNC pledge. He will not attend debates, which debates are for the voters. He's more or less saying that he already is the candidate. These things are going to reinforce that for him. And he's saying that he doesn't need to earn it from the voters. Isn't that exactly what the MAGA whole playbook is about, is to drain the swamp of entitled leaders who think that they're not beholden to we the people? To me, this very much says Donald Trump doesn't need the voters. He is Donald Trump and he'll be president. That's how he views himself. That's a problem.
Now, Christian, the RNC, and this is what they have because he has not signed the pledge, he's not debating, they have pulled the credentials from the Trump surrogates for the spin room. This feels like such inside baseball. I mean, but this is what they have. How much does it matter at home? I mean, if you're looking for what Donald Trump thinks, he'll tell you. You don't need Byron Donalds to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a really good question. It doesn't really come as much of a surprise to me, though, honestly. I mean, Donald Trump has had a love-hate relationship with, like, Fox News, and so that doesn't come as much of a surprise to me. I think part of it is because, you know, Trump not only but Trump also decided just to go to a former employee of Fox News to host an interview, right? So
A fired employee.
A fired employee, exactly. So I think that this isn't really that much of a shock, but we know Donald Trump, he's going to find a way to speak to his base, speak to his voters. So I don't know how much this will really impact that.
And the really interesting thing also is this is going to be such a short news cycle for his opponents, in part because you have Trump counter-programming, but also because he's going to surrender on Thursday. And so immediately, if he doesn't get all of the attention Wednesday night, he's going to get all the news coverage on Thursday.
It's a calculated decision by him.
The news cycle for this presidential debate is extremely small for his opponents to really make a mark and stand out.
It's really, we had Chris Christie on last week and talked a little bit about sort of his debate strategy. And, you know, he came in as a bulldozer to go after Trump. The question is, Trump's not there, so who does he go after? Is there another Marco Rubio moment? Who is that? Is that DeSantis? Who does he go after? What are you looking for in terms of who has the most to gain on this stage, Christian, and who has the most to lose?
Yeah, I think a lot of the lower polling candidates have a lot to gain.
Well, that's Christie. He's at like 2%.
Exactly. I mean, I think a lot of these candidates are saying, look, Trump isn't here, so that probably gives me a little bit more breathing room to, make an appeal to the Trump base, right? But I think a lot of these candidates are looking for some type of breakout moment. That's what they really need. I think after we saw the polls yesterday, the Iowa poll,
That was
it just
so
shows,
stunning.
yeah, I mean, it just really shows that Trump has a real hold on the GOP right now. So these candidates are looking for some way to kind of break through. And we know that debates are very important in doing that. And I honestly say that a lot of what has happened up until this moment don't really matter that much. These candidates don't have an opportunity to speak to as large of, an audience as a debate.
Yeah, same question, Maura. What are you looking for?
Chris Christie did really make a standout performance. And I think, I'll be interested to see how DeSantis and Ramaswamy interact and how they handle questions and how they handle questions about Donald Trump. As you mentioned, it's going to be a real problem as far as, addressing Trump and hitting on Trump, because staying in his lane and standing by him and as, defending him is not the tactic to use and isn't going to get you anything but second or third.
But even in the context of what we've learned from the focus group from the New York Times, is they don't want to hear that. And I mean, that is what Chris Christie brings to this conversation. You still think that that's his key?
I do, because I think there's a lot of people in the Republican Party and independent voters who are dissatisfied with Trump and Biden at the top of the tickets and are looking for something else. They're looking and they're going to be listening and paying attention to these debates to see if there's somebody they can get to 80% of the way there. You're never going to find a candidate that you agree with 100% of the time on. That's just impossible. But find someone who you can get there with that isn't Trump or Biden, and that's what people are looking for.
Voices who won't be on the stage, Larry Elder, former congressman from Texas, Republican Will Hurd, who wants this Republican Party to be something it's not right now, and former Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Sununu, others have been saying, Romney, if you don't have a path, you got to drop out. Is this a moment you think they do, or do they push it a few more months?
I do expect we'll see it dwindle, maybe not immediately, but at some point.
Among those three?
Among those three. But I also think this is the thing that people who don't want Trump have been saying before any of this started, before anyone got in, was the concern that the more people who are running, the more it is likely that Trump will win the primary, because he has that core support and he still is the leader of the Republican Party at this point. And so if you have, 12 other people who are all vying for the same percentage, right? Do the math. This has been the problem essentially since before anybody got in the race, including Trump.
All right, Shelby, Maura, Christian, thank you.
Thanks, guys.